Hello everyone! You've probably noticed that I posted Wednesdays and Fridays videos today, both of those. I hadn't planned to do that, but something came up and I'm not going to be able to post those later this week. So I wanted you to have these videos. And also, I'm not going to be able to record any videos for the next week or so. So there will not be any videos next week. The next episode should air the following week on the 22nd or 24th of August. But we're here today, so let's go ahead and finish up the build exercise for my bizarre toy box. And the last thing we have left to build is Patch-4, the disposal asteroid, and that's going to sit right out over this direction. Here are some screenshots of this asteroid from the original comic book. You can see there are lots of machine parts and junk lying around. There's also some toxic gas fumes that I didn't bother to recreate. I could have used smoke effects for that, but it didn't look right to me because the smoke effect in the toy box just isn't dark enough, and it looked like something was burning instead of toxic gases escaping, so I decided to skip that. Patch-4 has one other unique feature, which you can see in this art. The disposal asteroid is the home of a hungry monster that burrows underneath the jelly-like soil, and I tried to think how I could recreate this, but I just couldn't come up with any good ideas that worked right or looked good, so I opted to use the Sarlacc pit instead. And since the Sarlacc pit doesn't attack you unless you fall into it, I added some enemies to make it interesting, but we'll get to that in a later episode. So as we get started, we're going to measure off the distance to Patch-4 from Bazaar here. And we're going to begin on the corner of this little Tomorrowland piece, which is right off the middle of the bridge. And we're going to place this right here like you see there. And let me get my screen grab here to make sure I get this in the right location. Okay. So we're going to measure off 15 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And then 2 smaller blocks, followed by that one. Okay, and that is where Patch-4 is going to sit, the edge of it. And is the distance important? Not really, but you don't want it too close to the city, and you don't want it too far away either, because the further away you put it, the more toy box memory that consumes, because the toy box gets larger. So you don't want that either. Now we're going to go ahead and start with this flat terrain block here, and we're going to put it right alongside of this block the way you see it there. And I'm going to set the theme on this to be the Tatooine desert theme. I'll set that to be my theme. All the terrain we're going to put down is going to use that theme. And my main reason for choosing this theme was that it matches the Sarlacc pit. Alright, so we're going to place 2 of those like that. And then we're going to come up and grab the Sarlacc pit out of the set pieces. And this is going to sit kind of centered right there like that. And up against those blocks and down. So there you go. And then we'll put some blocks around this. Like that. Okay, so there's Patch-4 for the most part. And now we want to add in some detail so that it doesn't look so flat on the sides there. So we're going to scroll over to the right, past these mountain pieces, and get to these interesting ledge pieces here. And well, let's see, where do we want to begin? There's so much here to cover. guess we'll start here on this corner since this is where we ended up. And we're going to fit that in like that. Another one over here like this. And then we'll put this corner piece, not that corner piece, that corner piece. Put that one in like so. And then that one. And we're just kind of making this look interesting all the way around. Put this right up against the other one. And you just want this to kind of look nice, so create some nice little peninsulas off of that. Kind of fill the gaps so they're not so square, that sort of thing. And you don't have to do it exactly as I've done it here, but the main idea, again, just don't let it look flat and boring on the edges. And you don't want to repeat things too much. So we'll put this large one out here. And that one there like that. But even if you do repeat it, it doesn't look bad. So that's all right. This one we'll place over here. The player's going to be kind of busy on here anyway, so they're not really going to notice while they're on this asteroid. It's really when you're flying the Falcon over here that you're going to notice that whether it's square or not or too repetitive. So there we go. And now we can take all of these blocks out. And this is exciting video. Here we go. All right. Now we'll add in some detail. And fortunately, we do have a power disk, a customization power disk that gives us a lot of nice space-looking junk and debris. And that's Star-Lord's Galaxy. And I've already placed that on my Disney Infinity base. Whether you have that or not, you do have some other options. And we're going to use some of the rubble and debris pieces from the Building Sets Group 2. That works pretty well also. So you have these pieces here that you can use. And just spread these around. Just looks really good, I think, even when you use these things. So there's nothing wrong with that. And if you scroll over to the right, there's some additional pieces later on that you can use. So you have all of these little fancy schmancy pieces here. And you can place these just about anywhere you like. Any orientation you like. Whatever. So all of these. I wouldn't probably use the craters, but any of these pieces. Probably don't use the broken water pipe either, because there's nothing built over here. It's just a dumping ground. So this implies that there's a plumbing system here, which isn't true. So those are the things we're going to use from there. And then Star-Lord's Galaxy gives you some customization options for the plants in the plants drawer. And so we'll look at these next. And yeah, let's put one out over here. And if we customize this, let's see, where is it? Here it is. So we have, I'll set that to be the theme. So we have that nice little piece, and in my original design I used that over here, so let's dump that over here. There's another one. Let's try going the other way. Yeah, it's a little faster. So those little train strips, it just looks really good. It's just junk that's sitting here, which I like. And just going to go ahead and build this in real time rather than putting these plants down, just so you can kind of see the placement. I should have gone the other way. The placement of all these things doesn't really matter, by the way. You're just trying to spread out some things so it doesn't look too flat and uninteresting. You want it to look like a junkyard. And you want to spread these things around. You don't want to really stack them up on each other too much. So there's that. I used a lot of these in my Age of Ultron series in the Churchill freighter. So there's lots of applications for these. Oops, I want to get out of... no, I don't want to get out of spark mode. I just wanted to go down and move this. We're going to put this over here like that. Let's see. And then we can take a look at some of the other options that we've got here. And I'm setting these to be my theme, by the way. Don't think it's going to cause a problem with the bounding boxes. This one I think I had right here. This is the one I was using over here. Yeah. And not that the orientation of that matters, but that's how I had that originally. And then just to kind of cover up the seam here a little bit, we'll place this piece on here. So there's that. And over here, flip this around a little bit so it's not quite so predictable. You see that's starting to look like a junkyard now, and that's really, really good. I like that. Okay, just finding my screen grab there so I can figure out where to put the next pieces here. And again, the exact placement doesn't really matter. I'm not being too particular here as I'm laying these down. This one, no, I'll use that one. Oh, I didn't set that to be my theme. So we got that. And you can place these back to back if you want. That creates some interesting looks that's a little bit different than the stuff around it. I think I had this over a little further. So I'm going to place some rubble in here as well. And this piece, like that. Okay, and then over here, I thought it would be kind of nice to build a, kind of like a carcass of a monster or something that might be a mechanical monster that might be laying here. So I use that for the head. I use this for kind of the body. We'll use this for the body of that, and then another one of these for the tail. So it kind of sneaks along there. So that looks kind of interesting. Looks like it could all go together. And at this point, you're just kind of filling this out and putting things in wherever you like. Doesn't really matter. The main thing is to make it look like a junkyard, and it also gives some places for the enemies to take cover and hide behind and that sort of thing. And put another one of these over here like this. Want to leave some room here for those cages, and leave this area open for a landing pad, because you got to have some place to land the Falcon. Alright, and then we'll come add some more of this debris around just to make this look a little more interesting. Add some variety, which I think is helpful. Yeah, let's see, how did I have that? I think I had it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't need to be too particular here. Let's see. Got some more. I think I had another one of those things over here. Like that. We'll cover up that little terrain intersection there, because I think that's helpful to do. Yeah, that's the one I'm using. So you can put those back to back, which is good. It makes it look like a larger terrain pile. And you want to scatter a few of these around. Again, don't go too crazy with these things, because you gotta leave room for the enemies and the player to be able to move around. But you need some of these scattered around just to make this look like a junkyard. And we want to make sure we leave enough room for enemies to get around that. I think I slid that over a little too far. So that's starting to look really, really good. I like that. Let's drop another one of these piles here to cover up this intersection here and kind of hide that a little bit. Another rubble pile over here. All right. Don't think I put too much more here, but I'm just double checking my screenshots to make sure. Again, you don't want to overload this, and that's really easy to do. Let's just zoom out and take a quick little look here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So we've left this area open back here to land on. We've kind of left this little area here. The peninsulas are open. So there's several places where the Falcon can land where it's not going to be a problem. So I like that. Okay, and the last thing we could put in, if we go up to the gameplay toys, let's go find those cages. Even though we're not going to do any logic today, we can still add those cages in and have that part of it finished. Alright, let me grab my screenshot for those. Make sure I put these in the right spots. Okay, so this one is right on the edge of that terrain seam. About like that. And then if you put one in between, that's where we're going to put those. And the two TIE fighters are going to sit inside there. So if we go up to the flying vehicles, there's our TIE fighters, and we want to spin these around. Now these use up a chunk of memory, but you can't really get around it. You don't need these until you get over here on Patch-4. But if you try to put these down with a vehicle summoner, they will not fly through the toy box door. So these have to be placed down directly into the toy box. There's just no way around that. Because if you put them down with a vehicle summoner and you fly through the toy box door that we're going to set up later, when you get into the next toy box that has the fleet, you'll be standing there on the starting pad in the middle of space without your TIE fighter. So those have to be in here. So there we have Patch-4, and with that, the build exercise for this toy box is done. Next time, we'll begin working on the logic for it, and let me remind you again that it's going to be a couple of weeks until the next episode airs. That's all for me today. Before you go, please hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know what you think of this build now that it's finished. And if you like Disney Infinity and you like my toy boxes, then subscribe to my channel by clicking my photo in the lower right corner. Thank you for watching, and have a great week.